everyone, Christina Sky here. Well, I don't know what that was, but yeah. Welcome back for part 3 of me reacting to the Grapevine. Should black people go vegan? Or should black people be vegan? Okay, so yeah, if you haven't watched part 1, part 2, they're on my channel. Go watch it. So far, in the first part, they talked about diet. They talked about environmental issues a little bit. They also talked a little bit about people's experiences going vegan and how it basically ruined their lives, kind of. We've also talked about cancer and veganism. We've also talked about, we've touched a little bit on the actual animals suffering themselves, which is kind of sad that it's not more. But here we are. I'm hoping in this last 10-minute clip, they're going to say something about the animals again, because that's what veganism is about, the animals. Their main focus has been on diet anyways. Let's continue.
Go ahead and check in the line. So I'm just gonna piggyback off of that. Like, we keep talking about change of diet. You can be vegan and still die. Like, and not, I mean, like, no. I mean, like, and what I'm meaning by this is that we're talking about like a change of diet. It's not that they just changed their diet, they gave up meat. It's also how they prepared their food. And like, I think that's something that we also have to recognize, is that if you are smothering your food in some type of sauce still, regardless of if it's cauliflower or if it's chicken, it's not really going to change much of what's happening to you. Or if you are still frying, you know, or if you're frying your fish, it's not really going to do much for you either if you're continuously eating the fried fish, because one of the things that frying do is change the composition of the food into creating it into something that can actually harm you. Yes, also, another thing that I wanted to discuss is this is why I brought up legislation.
Wait, just before we pass on, fish also is full of heavy metals, just so we're clear, and all the pollutants of the sea. And a lot of the fish that people eat are full of antibiotics, just like cows and all the other stuff, full of all the supplements and chemicals. Because if you've ever seen how they do fishing, it's not they go out to sea, they pick up some animals. It's not that all the time. A lot of the time, you're not getting that fish. You're getting the kind of fish that's in little pools in the middle of the ocean with millions and millions and millions of fish inside that little pool. And they're just pooping in each other's faces, pooping all in the water around them, creating dead zones, all this kind of stuff. And they're all basically infecting each other, giving each other diseases, and that's why they are pumped full of antibiotics. Just had to add that to the fish debate. Not all, obviously, fishery systems work like that. Some of them go out in the ocean and just drag a net, which also kills a lot of the ecosystem. But yeah, fish, it ain't so great.
In the beginning, the way we prepare and grow food in this country is exactly why why so many people are trying to, because of the macro and micro levels are that's occurring in this country and across the globe. Because when you go to other countries, one thing I noticed when I was in Nigeria, I stayed in Nigeria a couple years ago for 3 weeks, and I remember eating the food there and then coming here and getting sick. Yeah. Because the food there is completely raised. Even when the food there is raised clean. Even when you come here and you buy chicken and stuff like that from slaughterhouses, like African or Caribbean slaughterhouses, the chicken and the goats there are completely different than what you will find in the store. So I always implore people, another thing is like where you're getting your food, because a lot of these organic items are actually lies. You have to really be mindful of who you get it from and where you get it from, which is why I brought up how plants are being raised, because
the whole organic thing, I need to do more research, but I think that's an American thing. You can pretty much lie about what's organic and put labels of organic. In the UK, however, I don't know what's going to happen after Brexit, because they need some new rules and laws laid down. But before Brexit, organic meant organic, as far as I know. But you know how corrupt these freaking systems are. Literally recently, even just my bananas, I've switched from, I used to buy the loose, just random ones you could buy in the shop. The basic ones. Not the basic brand from Sainsbury's, but the basic loose bananas. Now I buy organic because they actually have seeds in them, and it makes me feel better about myself. that they have seeds in them compared to the other ones that don't have any seeds. But yeah, I agree with what she's saying. It's a very scary situation when they say things are something, but a lot of times I've noticed, especially in America, in my research, what they say an item is not a true to what is actually in the item of food.
Actually is a huge part of, like, you know, while we're talking about how the effects of animals affect us, plants also are having an emotional response to what happens to them, and so we have to be mindful of where we get them from as well too. So what I'm trying to say in all of this is that, like, we can't keep equating vegan with healthy.
Did she say plants have an emotional response? Do plants have emotion? I mean, my plants do. Look at these guys. They hate me sometimes. They hate me. This one hates me right now. It's all going yellow. I changed its pot. I put a stake in it. I tied it up, and now it's like, I'm dying. Maybe they do have emotions. Do you have emotions? Anyways.
It doesn't work like that. The likelihood is that because you're giving up vegan, you might give up dairy, but that's not always the case. You are probably, if you do not change, like, you know, actively change how you prepare your food, where you get your food, it's not going to make a difference that you gave up meat and you started using cauliflower, because you're still smothering it in sugar and
I do think there's a difference. There's definitely a difference. Your body processes, the sugar is probably a different kind of bad, but there's definitely a difference in the way meat affects the body compared to sugar or like cauliflower. But also as well, when you're frying everything, you're literally taking the majority of the nutrients out of whatever you fried. So are you really getting the nutrients you need? That's why, like, when you cook food, put a small bit of oil just to, if you want to do a browning thing, you don't want it to stick. But don't just throw it into a vat of oil and freaking sizzle it up like chips or something. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you've ever had baked chips, the flavor is beyond.
and whatever you put in it in.
Thank you, Chechi. I have to wrap up soon. Someone with Lauren and Jeff.
I was just going to point out, I'm glad that some people kind of brought it up that, you know, technically just becoming a vegan doesn't mean that, you know, it's between good and bad. Like meat is bad and being vegan is good, because I think you explained, like, you know, eating plants, it affects other countries, like where we get the bananas and stuff like that. Exactly. And
Oh my God.
and to be honest,
Plants have consciousness.
and to be honest, that's what that's also what I wanted to mention on. Like, I get it, you know, because I mean, zoology is like my hobby. That's what I was gonna focus on and all that. So I get it. I understand, you know, animals and they look at you and all that stuff. But no, because that's what some people were saying, like Cash and all that. We were talking, like, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But what I disagree with more is how we do it, but not because they're alive. Because the same way someone just mentioned, plants are alive. Just because we can't hear them scream don't mean they're not crying and screaming when you go to pull them and kill them. Seriously, no. So I'm saying,
this is the argument meat eaters come up with. So, oh wait, Juke's crying. Hold on. He's like, Jukey. Sorry, my doggy. What was I saying? Yeah, a lot of meat eaters will come to this argument of plants feel pain too. Oh my god, like, you're bad too, you know, because plants feel pain. But I mean, do you hear? Okay. If I chopped up a carrot and I chopped up a pig right now in front of you, which one would you likely want me to stop doing? Which one would hurt you emotionally, ethically more? Or if I told you to go cut up the pig or cut up the carrot, most people would choose, I mean, I hope most people would choose to cut up the carrot instead of the live pig, because you're going to hear that pig scream. That pig is going to look at you. That pig is going to jump around, frightened, scared, struggling to live. And sorry, I'm going to get I'm going to cry. I don't want to get to that point, so I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it, but you get my point. Oh, do you know what? I never used to be an emotional person, but do you know, since I turned vegan, it's like rain all day long. I just used to hold the tears and laugh about everything and be depressed. Now I just let it out and I'm just like, I'm good now. But yeah, I can't believe people compare plants. I get it. I love my plants right now. They die on me. They live with me. Like, look at this one. Look at this one. Look. My friend got me. I need to water it. Yeah, my friend got me this one. I have a bunny looking one too. I have like monsteras everywhere. And some purple one with shiny glittery leaves, which I thought was super fake, and yet it's very real. You know? I get it. Plants are amazing, and I don't like to see them die. However, I would prefer my plant, as bad as it sounds, I prefer my plant to see my plant die than my dog to die, okay? And it's not about, it's a species thing. However, I relate to the feeling that an animal would have when they're in pain and suffering and dying, or being murdered or being enslaved and all this kind of stuff. I don't relate to the pain that a plant feels, because I would never understand, because they cannot communicate with me in a way that would tell me I'm in agony, I'm in pain. Whereas maybe in the future that will be a thing, you know? You'll be able to understand how a plant is communicating to you, I'm dying, help me. Whereas an animal, you can see it, you can hear it, you can feel it. I don't come with me that argument of plants feel pain too. Because when it comes down to it, and you have to go and put suffering on another creature, whether it be a plant or a fungi, because I eat lots of fungi and they're probably more alive than plants are. You know, have you seen those guys? Wow. Or a freaking animal. I ain't going to kill the animal. I ain't going to put that animal in suffering. I'm sticking to my plants. I'm picking my tomatoes off the tree. As much as I would love to let them eat their own stuff back and spread their baby seeds, and, you know, the point of the matter is, if you think about it, I don't know how true this is. I remember I studied this, but plants make fruits and vegetables colourful because they want you to eat them. They want animals to eat them so that their seeds spread with the poop of the animal. So if I basically go to my plant here, say I'm in the wild and I see red, or I see a blue colour, a blue hue, or a red, probably more likely a red or a yellow, I'm going to go there because I'm like, that has caught my attention. Back in the day, people didn't communicate. They just saw things and was interested and went to it. Or even animals. Other animals don't communicate like that. They don't talk. You see the colour. Your eyes can register the colour because you've developed and evolved in that way. You go to that colour, you pick it up. It fits in the palm of your hand. The plant made it in order for someone to eat it, to then ingest the seeds, poop out the seeds, which is natural fertilizer for the plant, and spread it. Wherever they poop, they're spreading themselves around. That's what I was taught anyways. So maybe I am basically like against plants, because I'm just like, maybe the plants want us to eat them, because animals don't want us to eat them. The plants are providing us stuff that's colourful and stands out, so we go and eat. That's what I was taught anyways. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm sad if I'm wrong. I think plants want us to eat their fruits, at least, hopefully.
So I'm trying to. So what I'm saying is that idea that you're saying you're pulling that energy into you have no idea what energy you're getting from the plant. That's what I'm trying to say. But also my other point is I think what we forget too is that we're saying like this person came down with this disease or whatnot, and they had to change their diet. I think what as African Americans what we're forgetting to include or mention is also exercise. A lot of times we see these people now who are like 50, 60, like black don't crack, but they in the gym. They be having abs and all that. They're not cracking because they are, they're active.
Cracking away.
Exactly. It's not the diet alone.
That's a good point.
And some people, that's why, it's not the diet.
Yeah, that's something I realized. I mean, I knew already, but because I've been sick, it's very hard for me to exercise or move about. It's very, very hard. It just makes me even more ill, and I get flare-ups and all this kind of stuff. So, because I have chronic pain, basically. And at first, when I went vegan, I cut out the sugar. My whole body was like toning up, and the fat was melting away. But obviously, as time goes on, you can change your diet, but it's never going to be. It's going to get to a point where it becomes stagnant. I maintain my weight. I slowly gain little bits if I eat too much. I don't feel like I eat a lot, but for some reason my body's metabolism is super slow and it holds on to everything. But without exercise, without that balance of exercise and food, nutrition, even though I walk a lot, I need more exercise basically. Without that balance, I feel like, you're setting yourself up for failure. But you're also putting yourself in a better position than someone who eats bad and doesn't exercise. Whereas if you're not exercising and you eat better, you're in a better position than that person most of the time. And obviously if you exercise and eat better, you're in an even better position.
Alone, and some people glorify being a vegan, but I exactly, and that's not healthy either to eat. That's not healthy.
They glorify it because it helps the animals, the other animals in the world, the other people in the world. Even it helps plants. It even helps plants. Because essentially we're chopping down all the trees and the plants to make space for animals if we're eating meat. But if you leave the land alone, you let the natural ecosystems come back, the plants are thriving. The plants are having a massive party out there. Have you seen Guyana? I'm from Guyana. Have you seen Guyana? No. I haven't seen Guyana either, but I've seen it on videos. They leave their system alone. They leave their ecosystem alone for the most part. Most of the country is literally forest. I think it's a rainforest. Yeah. It supports everyone when you reduce or cut out meat altogether. It really does. And I think people are failing to understand that.
Either to eat all green and not be active at all. And I'll be very honest, like I work out, and I have no idea how I'm able to. Some people say genetics, like I have a horrible diet. Like I'm literally afraid I'm probably gonna have like colon cancer or something. Like when I say, no, I'm serious. I'm being very honest because I eat nothing but hot dogs and hamburgers, literally.
The thing is, people who, it's the same, like before I just said to you, you could be someone who has a bad diet and doesn't exercise, or you could be a person who has a good diet and doesn't exercise, but you also could be someone who exercises and has a bad diet, and that keeps you in the same position as the person who has a good diet and doesn't exercise. And the only difference I feel in the situation between either not exercising and having a good diet or exercising and having a bad diet is that if you exercise and have a bad diet, you're at a huge risk of heart attacks because you're lining your arteries with, basically it's called atherosclerosis. You're lining your arteries. Sorry, I used to be a nurse. You get atherosclerosis is basically the lining of fat on all of the arteries, majority of your arteries, and it can also clog up your heart. You may think, oh, I'm exercising, I'm good, you know, I've got all these muscles, blah, blah, blah. And you may, for the most part, be working away a lot of your fat, but a lot of it can stay in your arteries, clogging up the area to the point where, you know, it's just waiting for you to even probably just stop exercising, keeping up the bad diet. Imagine you exercise for ages. It happens. People exercise and have a bad diet. And as they get older, they stop exercising. They still have a bad diet. And then they already messed up their arteries. And now they're at a high risk of stroke from the fat breaking off of their arteries and going to their heart or to their brain. You could also have diabetes, even if you're exercising and having a bad diet. I think if you have a good diet, but you're not exercising, and you're maintaining a good weight with the good diet, you're probably lower probability of having diabetes, I think. Don't quote me on that, I don't know. But balance, as I said before, balance is needed. Balance is necessary. You gotta create that good equilibrium. I wanted to throw out a big word. I hope that's the right word.
Every day. But at the same time, I'm saying it doesn't look like I do that. Possibly because I also work out. Not saying I won't get it, but it could be like a balance. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
That's what I'm trying to
Thank you, Mama. Go ahead, Jeff. World's worst trainer.
Wild morbid. Like, you'll be all right. So just to wrap it up, just listening to everybody's perspective, how everybody had a unique perspective and a different type of information on nutrition. It is criminal how misinformed we are generally about nutrition, about health, and about food. I think it's insane that doctors don't learn nutrition, like explicitly, exactly. And it's the system built to make money off of us, because didn't Chris Rock say the money's in the treatment, not in the cure?
Money's in the...
Right.
It's so true. You're basically... Doctors are there to bring people from sickness back to health. They're not there to maintain health. They're basically there to solve problems, solve issues, solve health issues. The thing is, when I was trying to become a doctor through different means, that's why I became a nurse. I found a quick fire way to become a doctor. Different kind of doctor, but a doctor nonetheless. I didn't end up doing it because I got sick with the cancer. But that's part of what I wanted to do, is kind of just like be more of a preventative, maintaining health, rather than being the one who's at the end, who's like the person you run to when something's gone wrong in the body. I wanted to be the person who you come to keep your healthy lifestyle, to keep your healthy body, keep you fit, keep you ticking, y'all. And it is very criminal that doctors do not get the nutrition. I actually want to ask my brother, because my brother is a doctor now. I want to ask him if he got nutrition education, because I wonder if in 2021 they get it. Yeah.
And the cure.
Prevention.
Right. So I think that's just something we all. I think that's just something that we all have to remember, and in this age of information, it's just funny that we have it at the tip of our fingers and we choose not to go look for it or inform ourselves, because ignorance is bliss. So if we really want to be healthy, no matter what diet you pick, no matter what you eat, know what's getting in your body and educate yourself so that we can live the life that we're supposed to live.
Thank you, Jeff. Go ahead, Cash.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead, Cash, with the comment, and we have the rap. We got a rap. Go ahead, Cash.
That's what it's all
My
about.
other two points.
I'm
right?
sorry, before you start, please make these short and succinct.
Succinct.
Please.
I would like to be succinct.
Go ahead.
Actually. The first point was supposed to be kind of a spirituality point about like thinking about yin yang, right? Plants. Okay, there's only 3 things living on the planet, right? Everything else is like rocks and like just forms of energy. There's fungi, which is a whole other conversation, which is mushrooms and stuff. They create environments for plants to be able to grow. Plants, which take energy from the sun and create like oxygen for us to breathe in, and then we breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. So I want to just put a look right at plants and animals for a second.
Relationship.
We all as animals, right? At one point, we're drinking alongside the water, where plants were dropping fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and roots and everything for us to eat. And at one point, one that was a killer turned towards
That's what I
another
was
and
trying to
started
say
eating
before.
each other. You see what I'm saying? And cannibals are in the same boat to me as those who are willing to kill an animal in order to eat it, essentially. Because that's where I get to the second point, which is being black and being a vegan. We have understood what chattel slavery was like. We've understood what civil rights is like, that there are people who can't speak for themselves and stuff. I'm kind of talking about animals like a Dr. Doolittle or something. I don't mean to sound that way, but we just got to understand that you can get protein from so many different things. The biggest animals on the planet are vegetarians. When you're talking about elephants, when you're talking about rhinos, when you're talking about, it goes on for a while. So, and they kill each other when it's a territorial thing or something, but they don't do it in order to eat each other, because then they would go away. Like if you ate more of yourself, like that's what it's self-detrimental. So anyways, that's why I make the point about black people. And then the final thing is that I've heard that almost 70% or something of black people are lactose intolerant, because lactose is some type of sugar that animals make, and specifically cows, it sounds like, where when we try to drink the milk from them, like our stomachs can't digest it because we're so like water-based and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we eat the legs. As black people, it ain't a big thing for us in that way. We are also known for heart disease. Someone made this point earlier. So you don't want to eat cholesterol, that thick stuff that ends up in your blood. You don't want that. And then last thing. Chlorophyll is green. Chlorophyll is the reason that these plants are green, right? Let's talk about plants. They get hit by sunlight, ultraviolet radiation from an extraterrestrial source, and they produce something that's oxygen for us to breathe. We as black people have melanin, and that's like chlorophyll. When sunlight hits us, we produce vitamin D in the same way plants do. And so they're like our yin yang. They're our brother or sister or our opposite, and they produce so much stuff for us, from medicines to whatever. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, as they wanted us to.
Thank you, Cash. Thank you. Go ahead, Carmi.
I'll keep this.
This guy, I feel like, is the only one. Maybe there was another female, but I can't remember. I feel like he was the only one who was bringing to the table, or slightly touching the table of animal suffering. And that's what veganism is about. That is what veganism is about. It's about reducing the suffering of animals. But we're not going there because everyone wants to talk about diet. So annoying. Let's finish this up.
Super short, but I think that it's a really important point to end on, considering we are all humans living on this planet, and we will all one day have kids who will one day have kids who will one day have kids, and I assume that we would want them to live on a viable planet, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to first talk about population growth. Right? Population growth is increasing, and meat consumption is increasing because developing countries are seeing meat as a luxury and are also wanting to get in on it. So because meat consumption is increasing and population growth is increasing, it's just going to be unsustainable for the entire planet if more and more people are wanting it. Mm-hmm. Also, I know you, Chechi, you mentioned earlier about the soil and how the vegetables. You said something about like not getting their nutrients or something like that. That is mainly from the soil erosion that we have in our farmland. It's not necessarily because of the plant itself or because of the pesticides. It's because we are reusing our soil over and over and over again, that we are literally depleting the nutrients out of the soil so that the nutrients can literally not get in our food. So when we're eating our pepper, we're basically eating nothing. Literally, and that's no, not to accommodate, not to accommodate vegans. But I think the last point that I want to make is if we can just keep it really, really, really simple, cattle ranching
pollutes the air, and plants clean it.
Oh,
And that's it.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna end on my sister. Go ahead.
I just want to say for optimal wellness, it's not just what you eat, it's if you're getting enough sleep, are you exercising, what toxins are you using, what are you putting in your face, and what are you cleaning your house with. So that's just to end with that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What is that? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that provided information. Like I feel like
You a vegan now?
no, no. What I'm just saying, like I just want to say thank you for the information. No, seriously, like, and I challenge everybody to just get to know your body, eat better, and just take care of yourself.
Meat is your friend, not your foe.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Meat is
Thank
your
you.
friend.
For those watching at home.
Okay. I need to wrap this on up because I gotta walk my doggy do. He's just, oh, he's sleeping now. He's gotta go for pee pee. Anyways, we finally finished. We finally finished. Oh gosh, okay. Should black people be vegan? I'm gonna answer that again now. Yes. Obviously, as I said before, the situation needs to be right. The context needs to be right. You need to be privileged in a situation, and I don't mean you need to be rich. I mean you need to be able to have access to, you know, a grocery store with good food and not like places like food deserts and all this kind of stuff. I feel like those kind of people in the first world who be living like that should be thinking about their choices and stop being, I'm sorry, but the word is selfish. Or just, they're maybe not selfish because a lot of people are just uneducated, but now you've watched this video, there's been quite a bit of information shared. I do believe they didn't really touch on the animals other than that one guy, and that should have been the main focus of this whole conversation, not just me, my diet, me, what am I gonna eat, me, this makes me feel like better, me. Oh, it doesn't give you cancer? Great. It shouldn't just be about me. That's why people in third world countries, or even people in freaking America on the edges of islands that are going to be flooded by our choices, or like they're living in areas that's full of toxic waste from these animals, or dead zones that they can't, like, I remember I watched I think it's Seaspiracy I watched, and the freaking, it was in Africa they were near. I think they was in Africa, and the guys were on this really tiny boat. It's very dangerous. They swam way far out to reach the bigger boats to say, can you give us some food, because they're overfishing the food in that small area that little village or city would have fished up to feed their small group of people. And I feel like you gotta think about that kind of stuff. Like, you shouldn't be, you're essentially taking from other people when you're doing all this kind of meat eating stuff, dairy eating. Not just people, you're taking from the animals, you're taking from the world, you're taking from the environment, you're taking from the soil, you're taking from the air, you're taking from the plants, you're taking from the fungi, you're taking from everything because you just want to taste some meat on your tongue. There's plenty of food now, there's plenty of options. If you want to be junk food vegan, go for it. Have your fried chicken flavored mushrooms, because there is such a thing that I haven't tried yet, and I actually kind of want to try because I love mushrooms. I used to hate them when I was younger. I love them now. But yeah, anyways, I need to walk my doggy, so I'm gonna cut it off there. This was pretty good, you know. It's quite an old video, but it's pretty good. Decent conversation. If I was there though, you know, I'd be making everyone feel guilty with my topic about the animals. I'd be bringing it back. I'd be reeling it in. I'd be like, hello, veganism is about being anti-suffering for the other animals. Anyways, if you like this video, like it, subscribe, comment down below what you think. Obviously this is in parts. This is part 3, so go watch part 1 and 2 if you haven't watched it. There's different kind of topics that they talk about in the first 2 parts. It's not all like the same throughout all 3 parts. It's different conversations, so it's pretty good. And yeah, I'm probably gonna react to some more stuff. Maybe not completely vegan stuff. I'm gonna react to some relationship stuff, like some questions and stuff about relationships and some other vegan stuff and documentaries and all this kind of stuff. So make sure you subscribe to watch later. And I will see you in the next one. Love and light.